Hello again. Oh god. Hello again. You all know who I am. You do not. It's very sad. I am Commander Halflock and Commander Half L0CK in real life. God damn it. You know this character to be Jorah Dagmar, who is the new main that I'm using on the previous console to PC transfer. The other one being Gino Dannon, who is on the previous original PC account. For those of you who are unaware, this console to PC account was the original account for Cadence Nain. At one point, it was just some random guy. I met a few of the players as when it was just some random guy, which I adopted into Cadence Nain. Long story, doesn't really matter in the grander scheme of things, because I'm playing Elite Dangerous, which is the single focal point of the entire effort. I did not intend to start the stream with the song. I don't have any objection to listening to that song again. I enjoy it. I'm relatively happy with the work that I did on it, but I do not enjoy the vocals that are on it currently. I'm still waiting on Camilo to confirm that he's been working on the thing with a vocalist. This is Camilo Landau of Camilo y los Robot Ninjas. I don't know how to say that in Spanish or with like a Spanish accent. So I always feel like an asshole when I put an affect an accent. But Camilo y los Robot Ninjas, longtime musician buddy of mine, Grammy Award-winning guitar player, and working musician in San Francisco Bay Area. I have a number of personal matters that I won't particularly get into at the moment. I've got into them quite a number of times, and have no real need to continuously harp on that matter. But owing to that, it has made quite a number of... Oh, you son of a bitch. I forgot my limpets, and there are no limpets here. So it takes a little bit of time and effort to get even on the phone with one another. There are no, in terms of the music itself, there are no current deals that I've worked out, in case you were wondering. Other than that, with Camilo, which he would like to get a vocalist that he is familiar with onto it. I've run into, over the course of my life, a few different vocalists who I think would be good for it, based on my listening to their voices. Which is generally how I adjudicate whether I think someone is going to be an appropriate person for music that I'm making. Wheels are currently not in motion. One wheel is in motion. I've made the joke before. I think it seems appropriate and fine to make the joke again. Jokes being what they are, I think it would have been an appropriate solution to the current problem for us to be making a joke about how it took this long for us to finally get the release out. Me and Camilo, to get the release out before I finally got it over to him and they got it recorded. And unfortunately, I'd succumb to drowning prior to its release. But that's not going to happen, unfortunately, anytime soon. So we'll all have to just abide the reality that I have yet to drown, and could potentially hear the song with the appropriate degree of lyrical, vocal. I'll go there. Vocal shoe fitting. This is a good way to put it. But you'll also have to be alive for that to happen. So, I mean, it is what it is. Kids can dream. I understand. I get how the world works. So the reason I wouldn't have normally put that song on for this is because it has to do with like a particular in-game thing, or at least I'm trying to work within a particular in-game thing that doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with the Zero Core storyline, which is like the spin-off of the spin-off that is the Nain logs, the spin-off of the actual story that the authors of the game have written. Other than their existence within within the same universe. But I put it on, so that's out. If you are not currently aware, Frontier Developments has just released the Type 11 update. The Type 11 update features the new space vessel, the Lakon Spaceways Type 11, which is why it's called the Type 11 update. Which is a mining-focused ship. Based on their own comments on the matter, it is the first ship in the game's history to have been designed with a specific task and role in mind. Which I think is not... I feel like it's not accurate to say that. Because I feel like the Panther Clipper is like semi-designed to be just hauling. But I haven't set my Panther Clipper up yet, so it's hard to say. I suppose you could just bomb stuff, which I do actually have a build for. But I do intend to make use of at a certain point. It's multiple certain points, as a matter of fact. If I'm thinking this through correctly. I've not yet gotten a Type 11. I will probably get one or two, both of them, for both accounts, at a later date. Whether or not it be through pre-sales and ARCs, or just buying it from within the game, sort of depends on how I feel about the matter, and where I'm at in terms of my development within the game. Currently on the Jorah Dagmar account, which is far lower and far less developed currently than the Geno Danon account, which is up at like 60 or so in Series Power Play, and has achieved multiple levels. She's a 5-star trading elite, which I accomplished actually during the more recent trading community goal, which is, as I mentioned on the YouTube channel, which this is currently broadcasting upon, was something literally everybody could have done within that month-long period. Month-long period. Month-long period. So I'm going to pick up limpets in my Type 8. When Type 8 first came out, I took a look at it and decided that it would make for a great mining vessel. Because it has all of the hard points required to carry all of the gear. It carries enough cargo to warrant enough cargo to make. How do I say this? Enough cargo to make for deep core mining to be profitable while also not overly long and laborious. So that's what I have now, because I'm gonna set my ships up the way that I feel like setting my ships up. That's sort of part of what it means to be playing a game, as opposed to actually being in space, like these girls are in the future, that we're controlling with every action we take in the present. I was a little salty. I apologize for that salty incisiveness. So I'm going to pick up some limits. I'm going to do some mining. The current effort is related to the Type 11 release. There am a Galnet news article about the desire for mining operations. It doesn't say it here. There is not a Galnet article. Or is there? There is indeed. Alright, so I'm going to play that Galnet article while I get myself some limpets.
Lakon Spaceways launches Type 11. Prospector. Lakon Spaceways has announced the early release of the Type 11 Prospector, a new mining vessel designed specifically for laser mining operations. The Prospector builds on Lakon's reputation for industrial reliability and functionality. Featuring an exclusive large mining hardpoint and the Mark II mining multi-limpet controller, the Type 11 can extract higher yields per asteroid than any previous mining vessel. Engineers confirmed that its optimized loadout and expanded limpet capacity make it ideal for laser mining, setting a new standard. A Lakon senior design engineer commented, "From the very first prototype, the Type 11 Prospector was designed to deliver results. The new mining tool debuting with the Type 11, with its enhanced targeting system, offers pinpoint precision when excising fragment yields via laser mining. The Type 11 Prospector also includes a dedicated fighter bay, giving pilots an extra layer of defense in hazardous systems or pirate-infested rings." To coincide with the launch, Lakon announced sponsored mining trials with Alioth Independence to validate the Prospector's capabilities in the field. The two parties have jointly issued a call for independent pilots to deliver a wide range of mined commodities. Lakon noted,
"Welcome, Commander. Communications are open if you require docking access. Docking request
Prospector's
accepted.
advanced extraction
A landing pad
features
has been assigned to you,
well
Commander."
suited for the task, but stressed that all ships equipped for both laser and core mining may participate in the initiative. Initially an early release purchase, the new ship is expected to rapidly become a staple of the galaxy's booming mining industry and will transition to standard shipyard inventories at a later date.
"You must deploy your landing gear, Commander."
Alright, so that is the current mine initiative.
Complete. Ship is secure. Hello, Commander. How may we assist you?
I'm going to do the thing with the YouTube page again so you guys are aware of what is going on in the real world. And then I am also going to walk you through what I have taken note of. First things first, I won't need your brains. That's a Nicki Minaj verse. On the Kanye West Monster. The first thing I will do is put that in here so that you can see how this all works. Okay, so it has been just under a month since the last in-game uh, non-Galnet information release about Territora, and HIP 87621. The most recent Galnet entry was on the 25th of this month, which is not that long ago, but like long enough. And even then, it was only because of the Rackham thing. So, for those of you who weren't aware, Zachary Rackham, the galaxy's richest person, sponsored an exploration event uh, in which he offered significant resources in exchange for rocky bodies and high metal content worlds. Full scans, 3-layer scans of those worlds. I participated in that on the Geno Dan account. And got about 420 scans of Rocky and what's its faces. 420. Go ahead. So I got 420 of those, and then this happened, which is, nothing. So I'm still wondering what the issue is. And by issue, I mean what it is that's going on in the story. I checked out Canon's page, and Canon Interstellar Research, which I mentioned before, was sponsoring a full-scale survey of the areas surrounding it, 87621. I looked today at the effort, which is being conducted and fully managed by Commander what's-his-face. Sirius Sam. Commander Sirius Sam _7 is looking into the matter, overseeing it. So most of them have already been scanned and mapped, as you can see on the document that they have made available to the general public to look into. But there are certain ones that have not yet been verified. I assume that everybody who has participated is still currently doing their thing, because I don't communicate with them at all. And I also assume that if you would like to participate in what their effort is, you can communicate to them in the Canon Interstellar Research Discord server. Now, I'm no longer in any of the servers other than my own, which is still just me, and I'm still probably going to kick you out at a certain point if you're in there, for reasons that I've gotten into. I'm sure you people are all figuring out as you speak, which is that Discord is full of fucking weirdos and people who don't need to believe other people exist as a philosophical basis for their social interactions. So I'm glad I got that out. It took a long time to compress into a pithy statement of objection, philosophical contest. So, if you want to participate in that, anyways, getting back to the reality at hand, you can find them in there. They will scientifically analyze your claims as to whether or not you really believably want to participate. I'm absolutely sure. Uh, and if they do not already have the information that you would like to provide for them, they will, I assume, get you set up and get you going. I myself am currently just participating in a lot of the community events because there is a long-running community-wide revelation that is about to unfold. So I will take part in that until such a time as it is no longer uh, interesting to me, which is essentially how that works with everybody. Um, I need more credits and I need more power play points, merits, whatever the fuck they're called. So I will be doing these things for the significant time. Uh, for those of you who are following the Zero Core storyline, which I applaud you for the effort that it takes to currently do that in its current incarnation. I'm still in the process of thinking a lot of it through. I'm not doing a lot of writing, so it's slowing it down significantly. The reason I'm not doing any writing is for reasons I assume you can imagine, and I will allow you to do so. I will, however, not allow you to express results of those imaginary resequencings of your facts without facing severe consequences, many of which will not be under my control. So be forewarned. Um, so I'm going to be doing some mining. Again, this is not like technically a zero core stream. Beyond everything being a zero core stream, because that is the current squadron and storyline that I'm running. So beyond everything, it's not. Because again, it's really more of it's more of a community situation in which there's a very interesting story that I would like to find out a little more about. I'd also like to find out a little more about what they have in mind for the next major update, which will be providing us with both a ship and a new game feature. New ship and a new game feature. So for the time being, I'm going to do what the community goals have requested of me. And then I'll provide more of the story of Jorah and Gino Dan and their trials and travails and tragedies and triumphs within Novus Ordo Siderum. As the mood strikes me, as my intellect strikes me, as much as I can bear to do so under the current conditions. I think it's the best way to put it. This is a very strange looking minefield. This has got a bunch of tiny little guys, which is the first time I've ever come across that. Why is that weird? Let's see what's going on in the world. Oh wait, going back to the story. I don't have any new pet theories and tinfoil headings of what's going on. So all the tinfoil headings that I've done are already like well established as unfortunate fashion statements. Navy football, Navy midshipmen beat the Air Force, whatever they're called, this past weekend. It was 27-24. And the Navy midshipmen are 5-0 and sitting at the top of their college division. Their quarterback is simultaneously what's going on? Is simultaneously the lead quarterback of the team, and also the leading rusher of the team, which either means that they have a shit offensive line, or he's just fucking better than everybody else on the team, not doing what the team needs. I don't know, man. Navy's weird. I don't like them personally. Their wide receiver, this most previous game though, scored 3 touchdowns. So three touchdowns. I'm not asking anybody. I'm talking to the dude sitting in my mind palace. And received 209 yards, which I feel like is too many yards for a single wide receiver. And like wouldn't fly in the NFL at all, I feel like. But good for them. And even if I don't like them personally, I do have a former professional association with them. So I have to at least be willing to professionally congratulate them for the good work. I personally don't like you. I want you to know that. Yeah, man, you guys are weird. I want you to know that I feel that way about you. Let's see. What else can I say about the Navy? To make it clear. I once went to an Army-Navy game, football, at Candlestick Park, which is the old Giants and 49ers baseball and football stadium. With a Navy friend of mine who was in the Navy far, far longer than I was in. The disastrous. I shouldn't speak more about that. Anyway, and it was fun. Football's fun. That's why I'm talking about it. The 49ers are currently 4-1, and I can already hear and see the inklings of the Niners quarterback curse, which seems really ridiculous. But I feel like Mac Jones handled it really, really well when asked about the situation and made it like very, very clear. But he was brought in to play backup for Brock Purdy. And as any football player is brought in without the intention of making them a starter, without the team's intention of making them a starter, It is their job to go in, get some fucking wins, so that when the starters get back into the lineup, the team itself is still in a position to win and take it all the way to Super Bowl 60, which will in fact be at the Niners' home stadium in Santa Clara. Exciting factoid. Anyway, moving on from the real world, in real life, and back into the gaming world, which is why I'm sure you're all not here. Where's my shit? It is now October, and I'm still in the game. It's now October, which means that there's probably going to be some kind of October's surprise game prize-winning situation. With the advent of the Type 11 and the new era of mining, in addition to the release of the exploration stats, which I learned about through the Burr Pit, which has a stream and videos, is somewhere at 0.06% of the galaxy. Which means you've done a really, really good job of not keeping up with the developments that the developers have provided for us. So I think it might be a necessary element in the near future for me to hop into my fleet carrier, fuck right off, to go explore and do a bunch of stuff and find new things. Is that a thing? That is not a thing. So, getting kicked around. Oh, getting kicked around. So I'm flying the Type A. In my opinion, this was a particularly well-designed vessel for the act of mining. In my prior games, when I was still playing with Coral and Cadence, I was using a Python Drake, if y'all remembers, that I had fitted for deep core and regular mining, or deep core and laser mining. I can probably still pull that fitting out from my Horizon account, or what is it? Horizons, the pre 4.0 release, which where it's still basically just sitting there, like all the other ones. There are some folks that play specifically to live, so I have zero interest in interfering whatever shit they're doing. I just don't care. But again, those things are there. If you have any interest in that particular mining build, you're free to send over a request via the forum or here on the YouTube page, or dip your head into the Discord chat before I kick you the fuck out for your own protection. Um, I am currently in this thing, the Type 8. So again, I've got basically everything that I need for mining on this thing. Now, Type 11, I'm going to be picking up. I have made that clear. If I have, or if I have not made that clear, I'm going to make that clear right now. I will indeed be using Type 11 for mining. For the time being, I'll be using this Type 8. For those who don't want to make a huge switch to the Type 11, why you wouldn't is beyond me. They literally made it for mining. You can take a look at this thing. It's a pretty solid build. Again, it's got everything it needs. Other than the fact that you have to continuously manage this boatload of fucking modules to get through the process of mining. It's a pretty solid piece of equipment. So there isn't enough music. Hold on a second. I like the music from this game. As you can see, it's got 3 mining lasers, a collector. It's a 5A collector and a 5A prospector. I don't know why I use a 5A prospector, just 2. It's pulse wave, seismic charge, displacement missiles, the abrasion blaster, and your standard scan loadout. It's got a heatsink for just in case, and an ECM for when you inevitably get attacked by somebody. Collectors died way earlier than I thought they would. I'm gonna change that thing so it doesn't look, so you're not staring at the YouTube thing anymore. You can actually see what's going on in the game. Transition into that. The YouTube froze, it looks like. I don't know. However, as you can see, it's got the full boatload of mining gear, which is required to mine without what's what I'm looking for? Without having to refit your vessel every 5 minutes because someone puts, I don't know, more boots on your vehicle for no reason at all other than thinking something. So, this particular vessel is the one I'm going to be using currently for the remainder of this community goal. The community goal being that of the Lacon Spaceways mining. What I'm looking for? There's a particular word that I'm looking for. Initiative. They are requesting osmium, platinum. Hold on. Osmium, platinum, and palladium? What the fuck are they requesting? Galite? What is it? Osmium, platinum, and galite. No, it's not osmium, platinum, and galite. I'm gonna have to look it up. Give me a second. Osmium, platinum, galite. And I assume that at some point it's going to cover the belief system having to do with Territora and the October Consortium. I don't know. As I put it in there before, or as I mentioned before, there's no current connection connecting the consortium that is sitting in NGC and at Ring Mine, or rather NGC, to the Voss Consortium, nor to mine. Which I should also make clear and have already repeatedly made clear. The only thing I know about that particular consortium right now is that there's a specific player-based faction or player faction that is supporting them. Other than that, I know nothing about that storyline. At one point in the Nain logs, I tried to connect them to another organization, rather another player-made faction. I was both there at NGC and also at Ring Mine. But as usually is the case when it comes to tinfoil heading, it's a fashion statement that goes out with the season. Still no word, still no confirmation. I've seen the writing staff there, who I no longer know to be Darren and Rebecca or Rachel. Darren and Rachel are probably done writing the story at this point, I suppose, right? What am I looking for? Right. So it's a. You'll have to pardon my scatterbrainness while I pierce together 8 different belief systems. It is Painite, Platinum, and Osmium. Ah, fuck. That's what they're looking for. They would like Painite, Platinum, and Osmium. So if you have those things in your hulls, hold on to them, and then sell them to Malsberg Vision in Andere. Andere. For relatively decent profits, higher than normal, is what I would refer to it as. I think the last time I checked, it's an Alioth Independent site. But the Painite price is higher than it's been in quite some time. Sitting at $289 according to Inera. Platinum is currently sitting at 333, according to Anera, and osmium is at 264. So those don't actually seem particularly high. But painite's higher than it's been when I've seen it in a while. I've been mining for those particular things in a while, so that makes a lot of sense. But the last I remember, it had generally dropped to about 50 to 60,000 credits at last recollection. And that is how we know this is a community event. What do they call it? Community goal. It's a community goal. Nice. So unfortunately, since I don't have the Type 11, I also do not have a mining volume, which seems like a particularly cool little piece of gear I would like to have listened to and made use of. So I'll be making use of that at another time, unfortunately, and that will be the case. And then I'll show that off when I do that. I went out for drinks the other night in real life. I went to go listen to some techno music. Had a very good time. As has been the case as of late. I didn't do much speaking and socializing because I don't speak Italian because it is a dying language. I don't want to spend too much time learning a language that will only be spoken in small pockets of the EU in the next 50 to 60 years, which is how long I intend to live. I probably won't. But let's be honest with ourselves. It is currently sitting at 21st place in the list of the most commonly spoken languages in the world. And I don't want to spend the time I have doing something that I don't enjoy in a situation that I don't enjoy, because that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Because you've only got the one. And if it becomes nothing more than expenditure, like these poor girls here, why would you even do that to yourselves? Sort of satirical element of the organization, by the way, in case you hadn't yet pieced that together. And are still an avid Nain logs reader, trying to figure out what I was hinting at. Beyond my amazing jokes and the realities of those two being babes that you all want to marry, and nobody at all contests that at all. Which is why, though. Read an article about the Prince of Wales, or Prince of Cambridge, Prince of Wales, Duke of Cambridge, who apparently has done an interview where he's discussing, like, I'm talking about this because it's an English thing. English people are important to themselves. he talked about how the monarchy is going to be changing under his stewardship, which may be 20 years from now. It seems like the current running figure. He doesn't intend for things to remain the same in terms of the monarchy. He intends to question the nature of tradition. And not so much that things are done as much as if things are done simply because they're the way that they're done, why are they done that way? Because just because it's the way it's done is no longer uh, sufficient to meet the needs of, I don't know, whatever English people think. I don't, I'm not English, I don't care. Um, he's like the Ashling, is what it sounds like. So for those of you who are trying to find an allegory, um, Prince William appears to be painting himself to be a bit of a reformer. Anti-imperial slavery and whatnot, which I assume he also is. What I would like to know from the English gaming community is who they think all of the in-game characters are inspired by and based on. Who was Robert Holbrook channeling? Holdstock? Holbrook. I didn't make a point to memorize this guy's name. Braben and Holdstock. Stock. Whichever one it is. Who is it that he was channeling? He brought in Ashling. Or Aisling, however you want to pronounce it. It's not my name to pronounce. And Leon and Alyssa Duval. All these other folks. Who were the inspiring real life entities? And should they be paid royalties and accredited with their influence on the story? Is what I would like to know about the thoughts of the English gaming community. So, at the moment, I've only got, moving back to in-game stuff, now that we're all excited and ready to go, I'm moving back over to here. I've only got a 2A refinery. 2A? Yeah, 2A refinery on this thing. I mean, it's all you need when you're doing decore mining. Really, any targeted mining, you only need a 2A. You need 1A if you're doing really targeted mining. But with the massive amounts of optionals, it gives you a lot of space for a large amount of stock, which is that 300 here, which you can get in about 3 hours, 4 hours, maybe 2 hours if you're doing really well. Chill out. 2, 3, 4 hours if you're doing really well. How much other hours would there need to be? 320 in cargo. 320 tons in cargo. 2 5s, which are the prospector and collector. Unless I have a 3A on there, which might also be the case. Prospector, limpets. Prospector, limpets. Prospector, limpets. It's a 5A and a 5A collector. I assume if you decided to fit this thing with the 6E and 5E pre-engineered cargo racks from that most recent community goal, you can get somewhere upwards of 364, maybe. That's 32. That's 86. If you've got 3 of those, you can probably go with 96. 4. This is like a level of math I'm not prepared for at the moment. Somewhere in the area of like 415 or 412, 410. You can probably also, with 3 of those, drop the 7. Drop the 70 cargo rack and give yourself a universal limpet controller, at which point you have 2 extra 5s, although there'd be no reason to do that. Also, wouldn't be really to your benefit, because you don't need all of the limpets that are present on a universal limpet controller. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you can also probably just pick up the Type 11 and you'll be just fine. Again, specifically designed to mine. I mean, at that point, you're sort of resisting specialization. But, as I've stated, I'm currently in the Type 8 because I have not yet picked up the Type 11. I'll probably pick up the Type 11, but again, the Type 8 I feel like is like a really, really great all-purpose or multi-purpose vessel. Will probably happen multi-purpose for the trade sandbox, trade and production sandbox. What will probably end up happening is I'll be refitting this for power play exclusive activities, carrying power play materials, and what do they call that shit? What's the thing it's called? Sorry, there are a few distractions going on now. Hauling power play materials and also doing power play retrievals. So retrieving wreckage and engineering material grinds, which isn't necessarily power play, but it's related to the act. Now, at a certain point, I also I do intend to fuck off and do some real exploring at a certain point. Whether or not that point is going to be in the here and now or at a latter point, has yet to be determined. Although, if I'm being perfectly honest with myself, now would probably be a better time for me to do that. Unfortunately, I've initiated the zero core story now, so I'll have to come up with like a better transition slash waiting period. Although this one is like not too horrible, considering the fact that I've just got Cadence back in the story as who she is. Commander Daniels come online. Um, Cadence is back in the story from her position as the prior and professor at the Institute for Zero Learning, while also simultaneously running the operations to prepare these two for their zero. Cadence is sitting, or Coral's sitting in the zero, well, the office, and that's pretty much where that is. There's a person who is also currently in the room, so you might be hearing some bleed over from that. I have zero reason to discuss why this person is here, other than to say that this is a relatively public place, which requires no real discussion beyond that. If you guys remember when I was back in Sorrento last summer, I was essentially playing the game like in the middle of a hallway. I wasn't doing a lot of streaming, but I was playing, and I was playing on mouse and key, which is one, unfortunate, and two, every kind of undesirable when it comes to me playing this game. And there are some shits in here. Whoa. This is this looks a lot. And the next one is here. Go. And Commander Daniel has gone offline. I don't know who any of these people are. These are all gankers that I played with. I don't actually know anybody in the real world that plays Elite Dangerous. I don't know a lot of people in the real world anymore. I try to cut myself off from them for reasons of unfortunate reality. But I have not yet ran into anybody in the real world who plays Elite Dangerous. Because apparently it's a nerd-ass game. I don't know if problems. To be fair to myself and to other Elite Dangerous players, I've never gone to any of these Elite Dangerous meetups. But that also has to do with the fact that I don't like to meet people. As I mentioned about my trip on Friday? Whatever it was. When I went and listened and attended a techno music gathering, which was a good time for me in particular. I don't know how everyone else felt about it, but I know that I like techno music, which, by the way, is indeed bigger than hip hop. Overall global appeal. Alright, it's just reality. So, appears to be the case, and the collectors are not doing that. Something that happens quite often, because I've only got this 5, which gives me 3 collectors. Now the Type 11 gives you that 5 multi-limpet controller, which allows you like 14 total limpets. I've been checking the forums about it. Apparently, according to the forums, that is a total number. And there have been certain players that have been getting stuck with prospectors that are no longer relevant or no longer available for use because they've already been either expended or have demonstrated that they do not have the asset that you're looking for, or material that you're looking for, and collectors, which dropped your overall collectible numbers down. And they haven't been able to shoot other limpets without it being directly related to carrying another set of limpet controllers in there. I don't know. I haven't the slightest idea what exactly will be going on with the Type 11 type ship, because I don't own a Type 11. So because of that, I can't say. Sounds like a problem. Sounds like a bug. I'm sure they're going to be looking at it. If they get enough complaints, or if it is indeed an actual issue, as opposed to someone not verifying their checksums in the immediacy of getting themselves into the game with their new ship. Are they called? I don't know if they're called checksums. I'm not a computer scientist, so my brain doesn't think in the way that computer scientists' brains think. I mean, it's not exclusive to computer science. It's also anyone that does cryptography and particular forms of engineering. Capandra Daniel is back online. If I remember correctly, I was killed by the Capandra Daniel. That's generally how I meet people in Lake Dangerous. Is I go into ganking fights with small ships. Because why? And like any good ganker or appreciator of the world of gank, I make clear that I'm down for some PvP at opportune moments of the day. By which I'm indeed referring to the in-game act of ganking, not being subjected to in real life requirements as a member of a vulnerable population. That vulnerability being one in which I'm subject to ganking in real life. I don't really welcome that kind of thing. Really, if anything. It's always fun in game controlling the future from the present to encounter those things. Needed to believe it needed. Just something to think about. Type 11 type shit. So this is type 8 type shit that I'm currently conducting from within the PC world of Elite Dangerous. Again, the current community goal effort is a mining initiative to bring painite, platinum, and osmium to Andere, as part of the Lakon Spaceways Type 11 mining test run, in which one can essentially do this for hours upon hours. Just smoking rocks all day long. And then turning the shit you can't get from the rocks in for money. Which is such an appropriate way to say what I was attempting to convey. It holds multiple meanings on multiple levels. And still pertains to the control of the future by us here in the present. Invite. More of my coffee. You know what I'd like to see a story about? Or Galnet, or at least some kind of foil into what's going on with this Terry Tora thing. Is some like federal and Navy intelligence exploration about like what the fuck has been going on and why it is they don't have access to the information about what's going on in 87621 and what they're doing to try to determine possibility of threat to both Federation and Imperial space. I feel like that would be like a great setup for wait, no, don't leave that stuff. Like that'd be a great setup for another set of CGs having to do with like combat and competitive drives to get information, be it through exploration or any of the other like various things that they still have yet to make use of in community goals, like megaship scans, power play material piracy, which, by the way, I feel like they have not yet made use of or taken the opportunity to use as an as like a real thing. I've mentioned that because like not too long ago I was making use of those fragment cannons and FSG interrupt missiles, heat-seeking missiles that were given away at the previous community goal. And I stole a bunch of power play materials, and they are useless to me as a gamer for Sirius to be stealing. I think it was like Torball or something. Like I can't just steal their power play materials and make use of them, unfortunately. And I feel like if they found a way to make it so that that would be somehow made useful to us in the power play world. That would be an opportune, or rather, this would be an opportune situation for them to go ahead and do so. I know you might think that's like a really great idea, and I agree. That's a really great idea. Another great idea is my idea for the main logs flashback sequences, which I posted on the community section of the YouTube channel, which you can find there currently, probably, and is definitely something that should be done if and really when the main logs is finally made into the TV show Bridge, across which the movie, two Elite Dangerous movies that are going to eventually be made, traverse from one point to the next. Those are probably not real things that can happen, which is unfortunate. But all of those things should happen. But more so than that, the power play materials. Because I feel like that's like a particularly important element of the power play mechanic that is useful in one direction in terms of the transfer, but not currently being made use of in a way that could be particularly good for undermining. I feel like in the first incarnation of power play, there was a specific mechanism within that overall game loop, where you could go ahead and kill power play ships, um, and you would get merits for that. I still get merits for that in this. I feel like you could equally get merits for not killing them, especially in areas where you will get fined by the various background simulation player factions for murders, and you'll end up with like high notoriety ratings, which is what I generally end up having because fucking why not? I don't care. But you can do things that affect the other power play groups' ability to advance their own aims while also undermining their aims and advancing your own through the steal of power, through the piracy of powerful materials. I think it'd be a fun thing to do, fun thing to do. And if you're listening, which I know you're not, um, to the developers, you guys should absolutely do a CG that makes use of Terry Torres' storyline and the relative absence of information held by the Imperial and Federation and Alliance intelligence forces to create a CG where we have to pirate a bunch of power play materials in order to submit them for credits and whatever goals we get. And we can determine which of the groups happens to be better capable of piercing um, this galactic mystery. I mean, you probably already have the story written, so it doesn't really matter. Uh, but for the next one, for sure, guys, totally should do that. I am still available for children's parties and gaming development. Um, Remote positions. Commander Daniel has once again gone offline. Oh man, I'm gonna assume those are ivory cobras or black crates. I'm wondering how much of what I'm saying is being heard due to the buffoonishly loud laser mining apparatus that I have currently in play. I'm also going to move my photo or my image over to the upper corner so that you don't are sitting there and watching people going on and offline. No. We'll lose some limits again. There we go. There's a person speaking. I may have to lower the mic for the moment in order to prevent me from having to listen to this person, or rather, having this person's voice go out into the ether. So as you can see, I took a quick look at my current fines and bounties, and I'm still sitting on that 2 million credit prismatic Imperium bounty from the interim period between the Nain logs and the Initiation Zero core story run. The two characters, Jorah and Juno, had been they were created right out of the gate. Uh, if anyone saw the behind-the-scenes look at the preparation for the orientation and indoctrination video, um, I did indeed let the people in charge know, just in case they had any ideas about how best to appropriate the name logs in such a way that we can finally get the TV show made. I mean, it is what it is. Uh, it'll happen when it happens. When it happens. Um, I mean, I think the first thing we should probably all focus on is getting the movie made. Um, we could probably do so with all of the talent within the community itself, to be perfectly honest with you. I've been watching some of the videos that everybody else is making. There's some quality stuff, man. Uh, some of the videographers are pretty solid at their tasks. Um, and if the game can get a Kickstarter going to get the game actually made, uh, with the amount of resources that we'll put into it, it doesn't stand against reason for the game for the game community and company to put a Kickstarter together to uh, determine the viability of actually getting a movie made about John Tyburn and the previous incarnation of imperial governance, um, which resulted in uh, the NMLA's being brought into the fold of a overarching government conspiracy from within the Imperial Senate. It's just such a good fucking story. I'm surprised it hasn't already been recognized as such on a wider scale. Yes, it's a good story. Capital, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase. Um, the the current state of the power play storyline is not. It doesn't come close to like the grandiosity of that John Tyler story. I assume they've got like a bunch of other things planned. You know, they've got 2 to 3 years worth of. I think at some at one point, the community management team mentioned that there was somewhere in there 3 to 5 years left worth of narrative material or like game running that needed to be done. I assume that was like well before any of this most recent um, updating. I mean, it might not be. Like this might actually be part of that original plan. Wouldn't be surprising, but in the event that there is more, the current state of it is uh, nowhere near the scale of grandiosity of that Imperial story, which is what it was. It's the Imperial story. Um, I mean, it involved everybody else. Granted, Nine Martyrs involved everybody. They had a bunch of great side stories with Sirius and Pranav Antal. That little contest was a nice little storyline. To try to involve some of the smaller parties, the Jupiter Rochester storyline that also occurred sort of within there. Um, is a great one. A particularly unexplored connection, I feel like, in terms of the possibility that the whole Jupiter core, what do they call it? Jupiter Org, Jupiter Corporation, could have been somehow tied into um, the Senator Nerva storyline. Plenty of room to maneuver. Part of this whole like game experience is that there's when it comes to the power play storylines, I've noticed there's like a lot of room to maneuver. I assume they have to make it that way because of the persistent nature of the game um, and the degree to which the player decision making in the aggregate generally has to be weighed against the development company's overall goals and narrative efforts. Well, again, there's so much room to maneuver. I mean, the Nain logs. The reason the Nain logs turned out the way it did is because it was all of the space that was left in there for me to just sort of wonder what these two girls and their little tiny brachiosaur of an organization might have been capable of from within the gigantic spaces in between. Only one way to know, just to have a little guidebook that apparently exists that tells all the writers what they're allowed to do and to not do. For those of you who aren't aware, by the way, there are two Elite Dangerous tabletop role-playing games. One is called EDRPG, which has a main book and also 4 supplementary books for mining, exploration, space legs, and overall combat, I think they are. And there's a spider mining game, a game by Spider Mining Games, called Elite Encounters, both of which I don't believe are canon story, but might be. But carry a lot of source material for anyone who likes to think about the game, and think about the universe that the game developer has created, and also has great source material for anyone who's going to be doing roleplay or telling a story about the game or from within the game. And for those of you who, for the people that the development company are going to be hiring to write the script for the John Tiber movie, and also for myself, when they send me over to speak to a scriptwriter, none of these things are happening. When they send me over to a scriptwriter to piece together the best way to approach the TV show, which isn't going to happen, would be great, like source material for me and these people to look into. Commander Alexander VVV is now online. Alex VVV is now online. My fucking combat is gonna suck so fucking hard. I can feel my wrist stiffening up in terms of my piloting ability. I tried to get in 2 days ago and do a little bit of combat, and I was fucking off. And this is sort of one of the things that happens. This is one of the reasons I don't go on these long exploration things. Is that I think I've mentioned this before. The more time I spend on anything that's not combat, the more difficult it gets to do FAO combat with any like real ability. I had a stream where I was testing out the Mandalay build on the Jorah account, which is it's my standard cannons PA build, and I took down 3 anacondas, not simultaneously, but in sequence. And then equally demonstrated that anacondas are far easier to hit with fixed weaponry than vipers. Uh, and vipers in crates. Uh, and also that I was not keeping up with my um, combat training regime. And doing the mining and the exploration and the other things has made it equally difficult to maintain that degree of combat preparedness. War ethos falling off, man. Shucks. I thought that was a pretty solid reference. Like, regardless of your opinion, um, that is, regardless of your opinion, that is very much now a legitimate cultural reference. Uh, and for you to even debate that I should be able to make reference to that shows you're probably like an Ashling player or something, man. Goddamn Ashling players. It's so like that. I do have an opinion on that speech, by the way. I've already posted about it, so I don't need to get back into it. I don't have any real interest. Least of all, like in an Elite Dangerous stream, in which my announcing or discussing having been a member of the Navy at one point is already completely offensive to anyone that's not a member of the American gaming community, and even offensive to some that are, for whatever reason. I mean, what was all the like fucking Jesus? At the time I started the Nain logs and playing this game, there was like a huge scandal in the American military milieu and in the American video gaming media about like army recruiters, or not even army recruiters. It's a bad way to put it. I think they framed them as army recruiters in some of the articles, but just like I assume, regular army douchebags who are playing video games and having to deal with like a bunch of folks that are yelling about people being in the army. and then sending them over to like recruiting websites, just to be uh, like there are real things that happen in the actual world. Like, stop yelling at me. I'm trying to enjoy myself and play a video game here, friends, which is what we all are, clearly. Um, I mean, they might have been recruiters. I don't know. I'm not. I don't have a need to know or clearances for that kind of information. Um, it's a hilarious story if it wasn't the case. They really were just some army grunts being like, "Hey, fuck you," because I know that feeling. Heart to heart, gentlemen. I mean, let's be honest, man. Video gaming communities are like, I mean, maybe not the Elite Dangerous community, but sort of the Elite Dangerous community for honest instance. You guys are super nefarious. Don't even pretend that you guys are not just a minor offshoot of the overall internet, which is the worst. I mean, granted, there was that kid Jack Tejera in the last year's National Guard who was leaking a bunch of stuff in the, what do they call it? Minefield? Minecore? What's that game? Minecraft. The Minecraft service. Which is probably super awkward. I'm sure there's a lot to that story that hasn't been announced, as there generally is when it comes to the military, because they have national security concerns that require them to not tell everybody everything ever about everything that goes on ever. Which seems like the most obvious rebuke to the transparency discourses amidst market penetration and capitalist realities, which exist simultaneously. But yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to say that gaming communities are like the best places to find Jesus or Allah or Yahweh or whatever morality you guys want to attach to mundane ass video game experiences and video game fellowship in little religious pockets of Discord. Um, I only assume it's pronounced Teixeira, by the way. It's spelled like Texeira or something. Yeah, you guys should look that story up, man. It's really interesting. It's something like to really think about when you're sitting in a Discord. I kick people out of my Discord channel a lot. I don't have like moderators currently who I can entrust with like the degree of you son of a bitch, with like the degree of expertises and responsibilities that I would need to like allocate uh, on the basis of like what is going on in there. I am currently out of space there. I mean, the video game community is like a, you know, I think I've talked about this before, but it's a competitive, it's a competitive Reddit, uh, where people are already sort of like mentally primed to like be hyper aggressive and to compete and to like shoot people in the face. I mean, I am always shooting people in the face when I'm playing with Cadence because it's just the easiest way to get rid of people in this game. But like you're sitting there like with that particular frame of mind. It's a complete fiction that you're existing in mentally because you're focused on a video game. You're interacting in that world. But then you also have to interact with people that are like semi in the real world, in the same way and in the same fucking what's one more? Same avenues as fucking Reddit users who were respectably stupid as shit. Like there's no getting around that reality. Uh, I didn't say respectfully. I said respectably stupid as shit. I mean, it's just a thing. Like it's a weird situation to think about, and it's one of the reasons I always find those stories about like people in the military. That particular story that I was referring to, where I think it was like Battlefield or Call of Duty or something. One of the games that like I mentioned in like referred to in the title of the messages. Um, that I found to be like super interesting. Uh, so I have like combat veterans in my family, um, in my like in real life family, uh, who have made reference um, to their having been combat veterans in like the way the fucker like they got in way before I did, and by way before I mean like during a war. I got in as like an intelligence specialist, um, like when the war was dying. Um, but that whatever that means, I'm just a satellite guy. Whatever that means, they made reference to their careers. Like it's just a thing. It's part of American culture. We suck. I know. Like we're the worst. Um, I won't argue that with anybody. Um, I mean, but they make reference to it. It's just like a common cultural thing. America just came out of like a 20-year conflict, uh, and people that were coming back in the aughts and then the tens were all referencing um, their essentially chosen community. You know, like their elected leaders went. I'm getting into politics. I feel like I shouldn't, but I'm going to finish the statement because it still has particular relevance to video games. They're making reference to a common, to a semi-chosen community of people, which is their members. Delta Force, Joint Task, this, that, and the other. I mean, there are people that are actually members of those forces. There are people that are actually video gamers who make reference to those things because those are like common cultural norms. And then there are people that are in between, or not even in between, who are like both, who are in that like the middle of that like vaginal Venn diagram, the small sliver section of it. Um, Everyone loves that reference. It comes with Venn diagrams. Anyway, so there are people that fit into both. And I'm sure it's like got to be really irritating to some of those guys who are members of both when they get called out for one making reference to things that they allegedly don't know anything about, or to people that are in the actual military who have an opinion about what they should be making references to, which equally irrelevant, by the way. And then people that are not in the military who do have people that are in the military. It's just one of those things. So when you get a bunch of folks like getting sent over to army recruiting stations, army recruiting websites, like in the middle of their video gaming session, and then you get parents getting butthurt about that shit. It's funny to me. Because, like, what are those parents, like, what are the children saying to the people that are sending them to those websites in the immediacy of that happening? I don't know, I'm not fucking, I don't have those records, I'm not analyzing that shit, but I mean, based on my experiences, uh, there might be a lot of people that have a real reason to believe I might be their father, which just isn't the case. So, like, I mean, like, I'm not here to judge the act, but, like, it's just one of those realities about being a video gamer. I'm gonna get a slap on the wrist from the actual video gaming community for that comment. My actual video gaming community. Even though I don't deserve it, you all know who you are. You all know what is being said continuously. So where am I at now? I've got 125 minutes to go. I am a couple hours into the stream. And it's not too bad. It's a little slow, to be perfectly honest. But we'll see. It's gonna hit the one I wasn't trying to get. Let's try to find mine. So I assume this is one of the reasons that. So I'm in 2 hours and 30 minutes in, and I've got about 150 tons of material. One might surmise that play loop, the time it takes, was what stimulated their decision to create the specialized Type 11 and the mining volley. Speed up the process, I suppose. Oh, I mean, this is about how it used to go. This is probably fast in comparison to what the early, like super early generation of late juniors games just have to use. I've never been in possession of the mining lance, so I don't know what that effect is. Also, it's, if I remember correctly, the mining lance is only real appeal is it can also use it as a weapon as opposed to just a mining laser. Beyond that, I don't recall offhand whether any major changes were made to mining. Beyond the addition of, I think, deep core mining at the latter point. I might have been wrong. I might be wrong about that. I'm gonna need to take a nap. So I'm going to be ending the stream after this rock. And I'm gonna watch You Only Live Twice, which is a James Bond film that had an adjusted for 2024 box office take $1 billion. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm also gonna probably end up taking a nap in the middle of it, because I'm in need of a nap. Let's see. You Only Live Twice. It's Sean Connery film. It's the last one before George Lazenby's, and then his subsequent return. Oh no, excuse me. I don't adjusted for 2024 box office take of 827 million, which seems really high. It was Thunderball and Goldfinger that had 1.3 billion apiece. It seems really high, just for any movie, really. Spectre and Skyfall did 1.1 and 1.5 respectively. And No Time to Die did 894 million. I feel like that's like way too high. That's just how I feel about it. I'm not looking at the numbers. That's just how I feel about the numbers. It's interesting. It is fucking Monday, October 6th. Running space. Monday, October 6th. Actually, I can probably complete this. It's a relatively good take. I have paint eye bros. It is Monday, October 6th. Our most recent Galnet entry was the Type 11 launch and the announcement of the mining initiative, which was on the 29th of September, which was last week. So I expect we'll get another Galnet entry at some point either this week or at the beginning of the week, beginning of next week, which is the 13th. One of which will probably announce the end of the initiative. Hopefully we'll get more news about Terry Tora and HIP 87621. soon thereafter, or possibly before. And we can find a little bit more about this gallant mystery that will probably result in more prizes. So, that has been quite the stream of interesting discussion, thought-provoking intellect, as always, and a little bit of salt in order to appease my gaming friends in the gaming community who do not want to listen to any of this because it doesn't have anything to do with ganking or the possibility that I might be their mothers. I mean, if we're honest with ourselves. Or their fathers, rather. Possibility that I might be their fathers. It's probably a little more accurate way to put that. I don't know. So, enjoy the rest of your week. I will be back tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to do a talkie tomorrow. I think I might. But see how I feel about it. I might be their father. I'll see how I feel about it. Whether I want to take on that responsibility this late in their existence. And then I will also see if there's like more info to be had on what's going on. I can't give you any information on the Type 11 at the moment, which is unfortunate because that's probably what a lot of people want to hear about. But as you can see, the Type 8, if you have not yet gotten the Type 11, if you don't intend to pre-purchase it, is an excellent mining vehicle for both laser and deep core mining. The specific build that I've got, which I can post at a certain point, if you let me know, gets me about 320 tons, 3 mining lasers, and all of the other necessary modules for mining. Unfortunately, the shield leaves a lot to be desired. So in the event that you do decide to make use of this particular build, I would highly recommend you be very, very careful about it. Shield health of 353 and 0 thermal resistance and an armor health of 792 and negative resistances. It is what it is. There are ways to make it work, but it does the trick for both of those. Pretty long gaming session. Well, not really. I'm still learning the cadence of it. Pretty long session. Not really, but sort of. Mining generally feels a little bit longer. And I expect that the Type 11 will put an end to the marathon mining sessions that are generally required. Don't know. You never know until I pick up the Type 11. And in the event that I do go fuck off somewhere in my fleet carrier, I assume this particular build or the Type 11 will be incredibly handy for me in those tritium hotspots. I am now. You know who I am. My name is. You know my name is Tom. But I'm also Commander Halflock in real life. So I, Commander Halflock Tom, who also has the Commander Halflock Tom channel, will be signing off on behalf of Jorah Dagmar, who is the in the future, under my control in the present, Commander Halflock, and the rest of Zero Corps and Novus Ordo Siderum. Enjoy the rest of your week or day if you decide to come over tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and try not to do anything too dumb or illegal in the interim.